Welcome to 101.7 KSAM and the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. It's time for the Hornet Nation Coaches Show with Huntsville coach Rodney Southern. Live from True Texas BBQ inside HEB. Tonight, Coach Southern talks about last week's game and what to expect from this week's opponent. Now, let's go live to the coach and your host, Rob Hipp.
Just barely.
Barely, yep.
Well, something must have happened here. That never happened. 1 second, we apologize.
Technical difficulty.
Never had that before. Boy, hold on 1 second. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Okay.
Everybody's there. All the clapping.
Man, I'll tell you what, Brian, I've always feared IT problems, and we haven't really had hardly any.
No, we haven't.
And, that's what you get. So make sure that you're prepared and you check your dials before you get things going, and you'll be good to go. So, well, friends, welcome back. How many of you missed last week? Are you glad to be back this week from True Texas BBQ?
Yes.
Man, I'll tell you, we were the bye week. I was just telling Coach Southern a few moments ago that I really didn't know what to do with myself because we didn't have any football. Sam didn't play. The Hornets didn't play. So Bridget and I got a nice little getaway, and it's the last getaway we're going to have before the baby comes in November. So we were just thankful to get away and just kind of recharge and relax, and I think that's something that everybody needed. But set for a good one here tonight, and looking forward to the show going. Before we hop into it, Sam Moak had brought to my attention that the Astros are up 7-0 in the top of the seventh.
How about that?
So for all you Astros fans, that's good news, and we're excited. But now let's move to football. We're here for football tonight, and I want to thank everybody for coming out to True Texas BBQ. In this first segment, as we look back with head coach Rodney Southern, it was a 33-30 loss versus Lamar Consolidated. Before the bye week, that was all the way back on October the 8th. The Hornets on a 4-game skid, 0-3 in district. But, Coach, we'll just jump right into it. Another tough loss this past 2 weeks ago in district play. Just kind of your thoughts on that one.
Well, it was tough, obviously, anytime you lose a district game, but anytime you lose it kind of the way we did, when kids are hustling and you do the things you need to do at the end, and you're in a position to hopefully take the game and win the game, and then, a fluke thing happens, a punt hitting a kid in the back, and Carson was doing a good job blocking. I mean, sometimes it's just not your night, and the other night it definitely wasn't our night, especially the way it ended.
And I think that's something so important to point out because that's one of those plays Brian and I were saying, and in fact, I didn't even know how to call that play. People on the radio were probably wondering what is going on. They could see it on the video, but it was the punt goes back. The punter, we thought for a moment he stepped out of bounds in his own end zone. He was able to stay in bounds. Somehow gets that off. Carson, it's just unfortunate luck. He's trying to move. He had no idea that thing was heading his way. Yeah. He turns around and it hits him in the back. What do you tell a young man like that after the game? Because, he may kind of be saying, man, this is my fault, but it wasn't his fault, just one of those fluke plays.
No, I think Carson understands, and of course, I put my arm around him and said, hey, it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it now, and obviously the situation was at that point was out of our control because we didn't have enough timeouts left to be able to stop them again. And hopefully, as we continue through this year, you don't get in those situations. And, we've had two of those, this one and the Rudder game, that, situations that were somewhat out of our control. And, it's going to happen to you sometime. You just hope it doesn't all happen in the same year. And that seems to be for the last 3 weeks. That seems to be kind of how it's been for us. It's all happened at one time.
You know what, Coach? To me, that's what makes football such an exciting game to watch. I mean, the unexpected. Obviously, you like to see big touchdown plays, big running plays, big hits on defense, or turnovers or whatever. But it's plays like that nobody's expecting in the stadium or maybe on the sidelines or whatever. Because I was taught way back when I played in those days that if that situation happened, typically the punter would take the ball and run it through the end zone and take a safety.
And as soon as the ball was snapped over his head, of course, we had a return on because we wanted to get, obviously in good enough position to either score and win the game or at worst kick a field goal and tie it. And as soon as it went over his head, we've got 2 guys designated to ensure the punt, and I think it shocked both of them at that stage, because you would think this guy's taught take the ball and go out of the back of the end zone. They're still, they would have still been up 33-32, but they'd have had to kick the ball to us. And, I would hope, and Christian could tell you, I would hope if that happened to him tomorrow night, run out of the back of the end zone.
Right.
Don't risk that. But, when you risk a kick like that, if Carson hadn't been there and we catch the ball clean, we got the ball on the 25-yard line with 2 timeouts left.
Yeah.
Or 1 timeout left. And you're in a good enough position that you take a couple shots, and if you don't get it, you kick the field goal and go to overtime.
So when you've had several tough games like that back-to-back, in district play, some high-powered pressure games, and we come up short, what do you tell your guys collectively after the ball game?
Well, it's a difficult thing, and that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about football. When you look at every week, the difficulty of winning. Now, like we've talked about before on here, we got spoiled the last couple of years, or the last 3 years, because we dang near won every week. But you have to be able to go back and number one, look and say, okay, what did we do well? And you also have to realize, and I saw this firsthand this weekend. We scouted Friday night, and coaches went to see Montgomery and to see Lamar Fulsher. I went Saturday and watched Lamar Consolidated and Lake Creek. And Lamar Consolidated was playing our highlights before the game, and you could tell that win was going to hurt them in that game. And just watching it, and just me having experience, just watching that, and I'm going, yeah, and it did. Lake Creek beat them 61-14, and so you have to have a thick skin. You have to be willing to listen to honest criticism, because people automatically, it's easy when you say, okay, if that ball's punted, Carson shouldn't be there. Well, yeah, that's easy to say, but he's also blocking a guy. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and he gets hit. Or you say, you should have made this play, or you should have made that play. And, I'm never going to do that with kids, because, number one, they're out there working. They're doing all the practice. They're doing all the film work. They're doing all the prep work. And then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But at the same time, we've still got 3 games left. We've still got things in front of us. We can still make the playoffs. We can still do a lot of the things we want to do. We just got to play better.
Coach, just your final thoughts as we look back in this first segment. I think you've kind of said a lot. So
yeah, well, the biggest thing is, when you get in a situation like we're in, somebody, and it can't necessarily be me. A lot of times it's got to be your kids. They've got to step up, and I've got to say I'm the guy that's going to make the big play, whatever the big play is, whether it's a special teams play, an offense, or a defensive play. And you got to rally around each other and trust the guys that you've got on your football team. And hopefully our guys understand that. We've talked about that. We're going to talk about that again tomorrow and before we get ready to go. And and they'll play well. I don't worry about that. I just want them to understand that all of these things are, because you've only got 3 more guaranteed if you're a senior, and that's and these 2 guys tonight can probably tell you that starts to get real about this time of year. So you got to be really careful with that. But at the same time, you got to continue to work and play.
And, we've talked about it, Brian and I, and it's so critical. As you said, I think a lot of folks just, you get used to winning. You think, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to win, we're going to look forward to next week. And then you start developing this mindset that the playoffs are always guaranteed. But you talked, Coach, about winning. It's hard to win a football game, much less win night in and night out. And this is the time right now when I really have pleaded and want the community to come out. And we've had a lot of great support, but we can have even more support for folks to come out and show these kids just their appreciation, because this is the time when you're in that slump. Everybody who gets down wants others to help lift them up, and it's not just the other kids on the team, but as a community, this is an opportunity for the community, in my opinion, to help lift these kids up as well, Coach.
Well, and I think they understand. The kids understand. You're going you're going to go through some tough times, and I use these examples a lot, and they probably at times look at me and go, well, you're just an old guy who's telling me, you know, hard times are going to happen in life, but they're going to happen in your marriage, they're going to happen in your family, they're going to happen in your job, and it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. And the big thing, a lot of people a lot of times will just react, and I've stressed to these guys every year that I've been here, don't react to situations. Stop and think and respond to what's happening, because you won or lost a football game, because we're going to be the same people Friday morning. If we win the football game Thursday night, we're going to be the same guys Friday morning. We're going to be the same guys Saturday morning. But at the same time, your ego and your ability, you go, you know, I want to win every game, because we've had that now, you know, where people kind of, yeah, man, we won every week. And yeah, you did, but this is a different team, and we're in a different set of circumstances right now, and we've got to do a better job.
Well, Coach, as always, appreciate your time in this first segment. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look ahead as the Hornets are on the road after the bye week at Lake Creek. Stay with us. This is the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, live from True Texas BBQ.
The Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club thanks the Huntsville community for your support of Hornet football. Are you interested in knowing more about the Hornet football program? Would you like to be involved? Meetings and membership are open to the public. Please like the page on Facebook, search for Huntsville Hornet Football, or go to facebook.com/Huntsville ISD Hornet Football. You can watch Hornet football live all season long at ksam1017.com. Join the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club today. Sting 'em, Hornets!
TWFG and More Insurance has been proudly serving the Huntsville and Walker County area since 2003. TWFG is ranked #1 in Texas as an independently owned insurance provider for personal lines. Their independence affords them the freedom to shop insurance carriers and coverages that best suit their clients' specific needs. TWFG and More Insurance offers both personal and commercial lines, as well as life, health, and flood insurance. Call Ann or Waylon at 936-293-8121 or drop by at 1212 10th Street in Huntsville. At TWFG and More Insurance, their policy is caring.
All right, friends, welcome back live from True Texas BBQ. You guys enjoying the food tonight here at HEB True Texas BBQ?
Well, it's good stuff.
I've got a confession to make. It was the first time that I haven't eaten barbecue here yet this season, only because Bridget and I, like I was saying earlier, we had a weekend to ourselves. We literally ate barbecue Friday night. We ate again something Saturday night. Then we were coming back through Monday. And when you go through Elgin, Texas, you always have to stop at Southside. Before I knew it, we had a $100 bill there. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to pay that off. You know, you buy 2 links of sausage for 2 people, pound and a half of turkey and brisket. That's going to last you about a month. So we love you, True Texas BBQ, but I'm just barbecued out. I will resume eating it tomorrow here at True Texas. So we'll get started here in the second segment. The Hornets on the road, as I stated earlier, after the bye week versus the Lake Creek Lions. The Lions are 5-3 overall. They're only 1-3 in district play, though. A lot of their early wins came early in the season. However, they did defeat Lamar Consolidated, as Coach talked about earlier, 61-14 last week. You had the bye week, some time to kind of rest up a little bit. Coach, how's the preparation been heading into this ball game?
Well, I think it's been really good. Obviously, the weather change, you know, early in the week was really good this week. You know, last week we took Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I put the freshman, JV, and varsity all together. And it's something I've always done during open weeks, because I think it helps build your entire organization. You know, we brought our freshman coaches and everybody in there together, and we practiced like we would practice during a spring, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I think we got a lot of good out of that. I just left the JV game, and we were up 20-7, and you could see some of the things that we did last week paying off already. And then, of course, this week, you know, the focus was obviously on Lake Creek because we were short a day. So you have to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and condense it into Monday and Tuesday. But I think our prep's been good. Our film work's been good. Of course, we've lifted, you know, several times last week and this week. So, and the big thing for us is we're going to be as close to 100% healthy as we've been all year.
You just mentioned a little bit of this, and I was going to ask you, Coach Southern, just with the game, of course, being tomorrow night versus a Friday night, You talk about condensing things a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about that and just how those Thursday games work and really what goes into that when you've got that extra or the earlier day.
Well, the big thing, if we hadn't had a bye week, we would have approached it much different. With a bye week, we actually started last Thursday working on Lake Creek. You took Thursday morning and afternoon, and then we came back Friday morning, and then, of course, we got an opportunity to see them live on Saturday. So, but basically I take, when we look at it, we take our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday practice and condense it to a Monday, Tuesday. Our Tuesday, we're out in the morning during our athletic period, and we're back out after school. So we have to, you condense your special teams, you condense your inside run, and obviously most of our past stuff is condensed to 2 days. But, we got plenty of work because of the open week. Now, 2 weeks from now, when we're at the last game of the regular season, you're going to have to condense and really look at, what's important in terms of the priorities of what you need to get done in practice.
Coach, who are some of the players or some of the positions that we should look at on this line squad, keep an eye on?
Well, they've been kind of similar to us. Some positions have been banged up. They've played 2 or 3 quarterbacks. They've kind of settled on number 23 as a sophomore, big tall kid who played almost every snap the other night. Number 7 was their starter at the beginning of the season, and I don't know, we couldn't find where he actually got hurt or got beat out or whatever the situation is. And then they run a couple running backs. They're running 5 or 6 different receivers in. They look very similar to us in terms of a lot of one-back stuff with 4 wides. Number 17, their running back's probably the most athletic guy on their football team. But they play a couple guys there. Defensively, they've committed to, they're a man coverage team, and they're going to live and die with it. And the other day against Lamar Consolidated, it was really, really good. They intercepted their quarterback 2 or 3 times. They had some big plays defensively. They ended up running 1 interception almost all the way back for a touchdown. So, they're not a – you can't really put your finger on one guy and say this is the guy, because they're not afraid to throw the football. They're not afraid, obviously, if the run game's working. And then defensively, they're going to play a base 3-down lineman, and they're not going to move a whole lot, but here's where they are, and they're going to play you straight man and say, you can't beat us consistently, and hopefully we can take advantage of that.
How does having a bye week at this point in the season, explain to everybody the benefits of having a bye week at this point in time in the season?
Well, if you'd asked me, this time last year, I didn't want a bye week. We were at this point, we were playing extremely well in all 3 phases of the game, and you really didn't, and we had no injuries. Looking at this one, as soon as you know where your bye week is, especially when you have, and Matt can tell you when he comes up here, an injury that requires surgery, and you have those nagging pulls or sprained ankles, and, those kind of things, this gives you time to, we gave them basically Friday afternoon, Saturday, and and obviously Sunday off. So you have 3 days for your body just to rest, and it's hard to do that during a season. But having an open week where you get some really, really good work, and we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But then you also have the ability to let some guys kind of heal up. When we practiced last week, we did a lot with the freshmen in JV. So our varsity guys were 7 or 8 plays, and then they're out, and we'd put the JV in. So we never had to where you're just constantly grinding in practice. And, open weeks are good, or as a coach, you make them good wherever they are. This one ended up being really good for us because we got a little bit healthier.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. What do you do as the head coach to keep this team motivated, knowing they don't have a game that they're going to be playing in? How do you keep them fired up, motivated, and all that good stuff?
Well, I think the first 3 days, bringing all those kids together and explaining to them, here's, and I post our schedule. I posted both weeks, all of last week and all of this week. So they know every day we're going out at this time, we're doing this at this time. and we've practiced well enough now. They understand what practice is supposed to look like. But they also had, we had freshman guys, and I told the older guys, I said, this is an opportunity during these 3 days for you to help these younger guys because, somebody helped y'all 2 years ago or a year ago or whenever it might have been. It's also a chance for our upperclassmen and our younger classmen, just like the young guys that we've had on varsity or JV. Well, we were able to take all of those young guys and put them down there with their freshman buddies that they played with. So, to be able to do that for a couple days just helps them. And we moved a couple of them down to the JV tonight, and when I left a while ago, they were playing really well because they've been exposed to a very high level of football and shouldn't have been out there, but by lack of ability in some areas because of injury, we had to play some of those guys. And, now they're actually at the level where they need to be, and it's going to help them in the future as well.
Coach, just the last question here. 10-5A, how's this district kind of feel this year maybe compared to years past? I've only been here a few years, but it seems like the talent in the district has also gotten more tough.
Well, I think the thing you got Lake Creek and Lamar Fulshire, and those two teams or those two schools 5 years ago didn't exist. And then you've got A&M, and I would hope it's A&M and us and Montgomery that have been around playing football for a long time at a high level, all three of them. So you've got more, I don't want to say parity, but you've got more. There's not a, quote, dominant team. Now, obviously, A&M's playing really well, but Montgomery beat them other night. I haven't seen Montgomery yet. Now, we sent coaches to watch them, but you look at our district, it's probably as good as it's been in the 4 years that this group's been together, that, there's still an opportunity for 6 of the 7 of us to make the playoffs.
Well, Coach, as always, appreciate your time here in our first and second segment. This will wrap up our second segment as we look ahead. Again, the Hornets on the road facing the Lake Creek Lions. That's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have the pregame starting at 6:30. For now, though, we'll step aside. We'll take a break. We have some players that we'll talk to. Stay with us. We are live from True Texas BBQ inside HEB. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Some say it's where Sam Houston surprised Santa Ana, or where Spindletop blew its top. But we like to think the luckiest spot in Texas is just outside of Livingston at Noscala Gaming. After all, Noscala's where thousands of Texans win thousands and more every day. Plus, there are amazing giveaways, always a warm welcome, and of course, big-time Texas-sized payouts. For a whole new spin on fun, our money's on Noscala Gaming in Livingston, the luckiest spot in Texas.
Used car buyers, get your game face on, because the #1 dealer in Brazos Valley, Bryan College Station Toyota and Huntsville Toyota, are ready to help you save big. During our Big Score used car event, score our biggest savings of the year on every used car, truck, SUV, and certified Toyota in stock. Thinking of selling your vehicle? Get top dollar for your trade today. All makes, all models, all conditions. Click, call, or visit Bryan College Station Toyota or Huntsville Toyota. The promise of something different. Based on Texas MVR retail vehicle registrations 2020.
All right, friends, welcome back. You guys having a good night tonight? True Texas BBQ. I heard Matt Long over there. We're going to talk to Matt in just a little bit, but we are now joined. We talk a lot with skill positions. We try to talk to everybody that we can, not just skill positions, not just the offense, not just the defense. I wanted to give special teams a little bit of love tonight. Let's give it up for the senior kicker, Mr. Christian Avilar. Christian, welcome, man. I'm a huge fan of special teams. One, I'm an A&M fan. How many enjoyed that Aggie win just a couple of weeks ago? And, that guy was the highlight, man, the kicker, kicking that game-winning field goal. Christian, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing very good.
We had you on here last year, I believe, right? It's been a while.
Yes, sir.
So what have you been up to in the past year? What has it been? Has it been a year already? Yeah, it has been, man. What have you been up to in the past year, man?
Just getting stronger in the weight room.
Just rocking and
Yes,
rolling,
sir.
man. Well, Christian, as I said earlier, I love special teams. It's one of my favorite facets of a football game. And you're a senior this year. I just wanted to ask you, because you've been on varsity now, this is your third year, correct?
Yes, sir.
What have you enjoyed most through the last 3 years?
Honestly, all the friendships I've made with all the past teammates I've had and relationships that will go on for a lifetime.
How did you get into kicking? When did you know that, you woke up one day and said, I'm going to start? What really got you into saying, I want to start kicking footballs, man?
It was probably my cousin Edwin. He was part of the varsity team, and I would see him kicking, and I was a soccer player before, and it just interested me.
Awesome. And so, you've had a lot of success at Huntsville High School. As you continued to kind of mold and grow in this program, who's kind of been your mentor, man? Who have you looked up to? Who's helped you through that process?
Probably Coach Southern. Yeah.
Good answer.
He's a smart man.
See, that was the second part. See,
nice answer. Kristen, for a lot of us, you said you started out playing soccer. I assume as a young kid, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And try to explain to us who didn't play soccer or anything like that, or didn't kick or anything along those lines, kind of the difference with kicking soccer and then kicking footballs. Is there anything, your style, is it different? Is there any just walk us through that if you could.
I mean, you basically want to make contact the same way with the soccer ball and football, but with the football, you mostly want to keep your eyes down where it'll elevate the ball quicker and just swing.
So obviously, kicking soccer balls as a young kid obviously has helped. I mean, you've had a tremendous season, the last several seasons, really. And that was what's fascinating to me, because there's a lot of, you'll see kicking at all different levels now. Some of the kickers have that soccer background.
Yeah.
So,
Christian, through this offseason, you talked about just lifting a little bit more. What are some other things that you've done during the offseason to help improve your game, man? It's a little bit different, I would assume, as a kicker, some of the processes. What have you done to improve your game through this offseason?
I've done with, I have a kicking coach from Houston, Cody Mandel, and he punted at Alabama. And so, he has a lot of knowledge of the game and about special teams. And also, I train with other kickers in the Houston area, like the Crosby kicker, C.E. King. I've practiced with them, and you just learn from everybody.
What if, you talk about the other kickers, who is someone on the team that you've kind of looked up to, or anyone on the team that's helped you?
A lot of people claim they can kick and everything, so, everybody tries to give me pointers here and there, try to lift me up.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, tough game last week, and you get to those close score situations. Do you ever feel the pressure kind of starting to mount on you, knowing that I may be the guy that's going to go out here and kick the game-winning field goal? Tell us a little bit about that during those situations.
Whenever I feel like that's about to happen, I always try to go to the other side of the field, kicking that, just start getting loose, watch the game a little bit. And on every single down, I take one kick, take a breather, getting my head right, and try to distance myself from everybody.
What do you think of – I don't want to say what do you think of coaches, because we don't want to go down that path. What do you think of when a coach tries to ice a kicker? Does it do anything, really? Does it emotionally ever do anything to you?
For me, I feel like it's just an extra time to get a breather and get into the mode and to lock in.
So you're like, please call a timeout. Give me more time to think about how I'm going to make this field goal.
Yeah.
Nice.
When you walk out there to kick a field goal, whether it's for the winning, points or whatever, do you hear the crowd at all?
A little bit. I always hear this one person yelling my nickname, Kiki, like, let's go Kiki. That's the one voice I always hear. I hear nothing else.
That's Brian. He peeks through the side door at the Kiki, let's go.
Kiki,
that's Brian.
Yeah.
And that's all I can hear out there.
Well, what do you do? How do you try to improve yourself each week?
I practice. I always try to get out before everybody else, get some kicks in, and then during practice, whatever we have going on, and then after our little special teams period, I try to go get some drills in every day. We go out there and practice.
So you kind of have a set program that you try to follow.
Yeah, routine.
Routine, week in, week out.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's terrific.
Christian, you've talked to some of the things that you do. Where do you feel that you can grow, man? Still some room for improvement. Where do you feel that is?
I still feel like a little bit on accuracy and being more confident in myself. That's where I feel like I lack a little bit. But other than that, I would want to get some better punts off, because with the fakes that we do, some teams don't like us rushing as much, and I feel like I try to hurry the operation on myself when I can just get a better punt off. So that's.
Sometimes you'll see, of course, kicker who kicks, and then you'll see the punter is a different person. With you doing both, do you feel more pressure? What do you kind of have to go through to adjust from punting a football to kicking a football?
I mean, personally, I think that punting is way harder than kicking, because just one mess up on the drop can mess up the whole operation. You know, a misstep can mess everything up, but whatever like the field position is, that's what I try to focus on. Like if for like maybe inside the 40, I start working on field goals and all that. But for like outside, I start working on my drops, kicking into the net and all that.
Who were some of your role models growing up? You've been on varsity for, 3 years?
Yes, sir.
So who were some of your role models growing up as a kid that you look up to?
Probably Owen Martinez. He was a kicker. I think, I never got to be in high school with him. But he was a kicker that I looked up to when I was in Mans Park, and I would go to the games, seeing him kick inside the end zone. You know, that's what I knew I wanted to do that.
Well, he was a good one. I think he played at Lamar. Yeah, I played at Lamar University. So, that'd be a good role model. Anybody else maybe in the pro level or anything along those lines?
Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker.
Cool, man. I went to school. You know Mason Crosby? Have you heard of his name? I went to school with Mason.
Green Bay?
He grew up at Georgetown, and he could only bowl about an 80, but he won a Super Bowl ring. So, you know, give him that. You're good, Mason, by the way. Good to hear. Good to see you, buddy. I want to ask you, man, you put on that jersey. I asked you this last year. What does it mean to you to be a Huntsville Hornet, man?
I mean, it means a lot. Seeing the community going out there and supporting us every Friday, and just all the positive things that come from being on the team, you know.
Where do you want to be after this? You're a senior now. What's your ideal situation? Maybe somebody's watching tonight saying, I like this young man. I'd like to see him at our school. I mean, where would you like to be? Where would you like to play?
I mean, just any school gives me an opportunity to continue my education and my football career.
Hobbies, what do you do outside of football, man?
You know, video games, typical.
Okay. Future plans, you already talked about just any school, anywhere you'd like to go. Cool, man.
Probably for criminal justice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal. Camera's right there on you. 20 years from now, you Google your name, Christian Avilar, NFL kicker. What do you say to yourself right now, man? What do you want to tell your future self?
Just keep kicking the ball.
I like that. All right. We can apply that to life. Just keep kicking the ball. Moving forward, man.
Kick it straight.
Well, finally, again, that camera's there. Who do you want to say a shout-out to tonight, Kiki? Give some love from Huntsville, Texas.
My parents, my teammates.
All right. Let's give it up. Christian Avilar, great young man, excited for you. And we're believing, man, that you guys are going to rock and roll through the rest of the season. So keep up the good work. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to another player. Matt Long is eagerly awaiting for the interview. Stay with us. We're live from True Texas BBQ inside HEB. We'll be back in a moment.
This is Kevin with Beckham & Jones Heating and Air Conditioning. 2021 marks the 75th year Beckham & Jones has been providing our neighbors in this community with reliable installation and service. And for that, we say thank you. To celebrate, we are offering up to 7.5% off of installation of select Carrier brand systems. Call us today at 936-295-9173 for your 75th year anniversary savings. 75 years of quality service and installation. Now that's Beckham & Jones.
License number TACLA 26079C.
It's time to take control of your health. Let us help you. At Granary Health Foods, we carry a wide array of organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and keto-friendly items, as well as grass-fed meat and pasture-raised eggs from local farms. We have an incredible selection of vitamins, herbs, and supplements from top brands, including Natural Factors. Shop with us at either of our 2 locations, off of Highway 30 West in Huntsville or on South Loop 336 in Conroe. Granary Health Foods, your local health food store.
Back at it live from True Texas BBQ. We have another player. We'll get to chatting with Matt Long here in just a few moments. Want to give a big thank you again to our good friends here at True Texas BBQ. How about it for Jay, Ronnie, and Alonzo slinging the meat back there? Thank you guys for tonight. For the great barbecue and all the good stuff. Well, man, it's a lot of fun talking to our player guests and just hearing their perspective, and it's always an honor to be here. And also, before we dig into that, I want to thank our sponsors who are here in person tonight. Stephanie Pitts from Advantage Specialties was here a few moments ago. She had to leave along with Brandy. And then Mr. Sam Moak is here tonight. Thank you, Sam, for being here. And one of our trustees was here earlier, Ken Holland, but I believe Ken had to step out as well. So we appreciate his service to Huntsville ISD. So many wonderful leaders helping to make a positive impact on our kids and community. Well, on the offense, let's change things up a little bit and give it up for senior tight end, Mr. Matt Long in the house.
Matt.
What's up, Matt?
What's up?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
What are we going to talk about, Matt?
I don't know.
Matt sat down. I didn't really know what we were going to – I lost my – I can't read my eyes, man. I had too much sweet tea, and so I don't know. Tell me what we're going to talk about, Matt.
Football.
Okay, perfect.
There we go. That's a good idea.
Matt, it's always a lot of fun to talk to you, man. You're a senior now this year. Just talk about your role on the team. I know that we'll talk a little bit earlier. I know that you were injured earlier in the season. We'll talk about that. But just what's your role? What have you really felt this senior year, man?
Just trying to stay positive throughout the whole injury and just keeping everybody's heads up, stuff like that. And just trying to be a leader and just trying to guide everybody to the winning path and just make sure everybody got their head on a swivel.
We're talking earlier, man, all is well. That's kind of a phrase that got stuck into my head a couple of months ago. And, you battled through those injuries, and you talked about keeping a positive attitude, and that's the perfect definition of all is well. You're in the middle of an injury, but everything in your life is still well, and you're moving forward. How were you able to work through those injuries? Because it was great to see you back out on the field last 2 weeks ago, man. How have you been able to work through those injuries?
Just keeping faith and just God and my coaches helping me and family, just keeping me positive. My teammates, just letting them know that I'm going to be back. Just letting them know all's going to be good.
Hey, Matt, talk about your junior year, the transition from your junior year on varsity to your senior year, and the difference in you as an athlete and your perspective for these young kids that are coming up in the program. What can they expect from, say, their junior year to their senior year?
It's you just got to, because my junior year I had probably no confidence at all in myself, just no confidence, not believing in myself, not believing in what I can do. And then senior year, I just had more confidence, started making plays, and just started trusting in my quarterback and everything like that, trusting in my teammates, and just playing football.
Well, you can see the confidence level you have now. You battled through a pretty nasty injury, but you can see when that ball is thrown in your direction, there's no doubt you're catching the football.
Yes, sir.
And you can almost feel that confidence, and that's a pretty cool feeling.
Yes, sir, it is.
You talked earlier off camera before we got started. You run a 4.5. Whenever sometimes other coaches see you, they think maybe you play on the defensive side because you're a pretty big guy. Talk a little bit about that, man, and just how much you enjoy the position and catching and those things.
It's just fun. I'm an athlete. I like playing wherever they put me at. Just like playing football. So. Your
brother had some success here. He's a coach now. Talk a little bit about him and just the influence he's had over your life, man.
A big influence. He's the reason I play football. Because every time I used to come here on Friday nights and watch him play, I used to be like that. I want to be like that playing on Bowersfield.
And he was at Shadow Creek. Where was he at?
He's coaching at Shadow Creek.
At Shadow Creek. And I think the first year he was there, they go all the way. Did they win the state championship?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So that's awesome, man. So it's great to have that leader as your brother and just your family supporting you. Talking about moving through and a senior now, where do you feel that you can improve? What are some areas that you feel like, man, I really can improve in this part of my game?
Just strengthening like what I lost in my injury right there, just strengthening it back up, getting back to 100%, and just playing as a team with everybody.
Tell me about last week's tough loss. What was kind of going through your mind during that ball game?
Well, at the beginning of the game, my wide receiver coach told me I was going to get in third drive, see how it feels, play a couple drives and see how it feels. But the second play of the game, the starter, Trey Taylor, that was in front of me, he hurt his toe, so I had to go in for him, and I played the whole rest of the game. So it felt good playing, but it was just a tough loss and just played my hardest. I think everybody played their hardest out there.
We talked earlier, about your brother. Who are some other role models that you've looked up to, man? Who's been a big influence on you and as you've continued to progress through your high school career?
Either my dad or my mom. And also Jalen Griffin. He played wide receiver here a couple years ago. He's at University of Central Florida right now.
You've seen a lot of success over the years with this Huntsville Hornet program. There's been some adversity, but you guys are working through it. What does it mean to you to put on that jersey every Thursday or Friday night?
It means everything because I've been wanting to put it on since I was in elementary school. So it's been a big dream for me. It came true.
You know what? When I was in elementary school here in Huntsville, I felt the same way. And when we moved to Huntsville, I was in the second grade, and I could not wait for it to be my turn. Exactly what you just said. I know how you feel.
And back then, Brian, they had leather helmets.
The leather helmets with no face masks.
I'm just kidding, man.
So tell everybody, Matt, I owe you one.
I had to get one in, Brian. I had to get one in, man.
So tell everybody what some of your hobbies are. What do you enjoy doing, outside of football, outside of schoolwork? What do you enjoy doing?
Getting a bucket on the basketball court, playing video games, and just stuff like hanging out with my friends.
Yep, having fun.
It's
Dude, you mentioned basketball. You play just kind of pickup, right?
I don't play basketball for the school no more.
Awesome. Well,
Yes,
I probably not during football season, but I'll have to take you up on that after football season, man. We'll shoot some hoops. That sound all right?
Yes, sir.
I need to get some exercise, man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
my favorite sport. So, Matt, future plans. Where do you want to be, man? What would be your ideal situation?
Playing collegiate football somewhere. Just playing football and then getting my degree.
What do you think? What are some qualities and traits about you? And I know a lot of people don't like talking about themselves, but I want to ask you, what are some traits and qualities about you that you think really stand out that make you an exceptional young man? Because everybody has a talent or a trait that makes them exceptional. What are some things about you that you would say?
Very vocal. Just like to be around people and just have fun pretty much.
Awesome, man. Finally, camera's right there on you. Who do you want to send a shout out to tonight from Huntsville, Texas, man? There's 2.4 million people watching now.
That's a lot. Shout out to my teammates, mom, dad, all my coaches, and God, my brother back in Houston.
All right, let's give it up, Matt. Good to have you tonight, man. So much fun talking to you. Matt Long.
Right, Matt.
Looking forward to the next 3 games. We know that you guys are going to do very well. We'll step aside and take a break. Final segment coming up as we will hear from Brian Carroll and the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club, the Booster Club. Stay with us. We're live from True Texas BBQ here on the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network. We'll be right back.
My car sounds like this. Sometimes I hear this. And sometimes this. I know my car needs help. Who can I trust to fix my car?
That's easy. Take it to WC Auto Center in Huntsville. Their technicians are experts. They can diagnose your sounds and get you back on the road quickly. The experts at WC Auto Center are trusted by thousands, and you can trust them too. That's WC Auto Center in Huntsville.
Where's the cars? Dale's Auto Sales has cars and trucks and SUVs and no credit check. Financing with approval. 50 years of car dealing here in Huntsville, Texas. You can trust Dale's Auto Sales for your next car, truck, or SUV. Go see the Dale's family on 11th Street under the big yellow sign. It's a better deal at Dale's.
Back at it, True Texas BBQ. Final segment. You guys having fun tonight?
Yes, indeed.
I think over the next 3 shows or so, I may bring a little trivia or something in here, Brian. Get some things fired up, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. Want to give a shout out real quick to Jessie Ferguson, Miss Ferguson, saying she's very proud of Matt. Love you, Grandma. She calls herself. She's Grandma in a way, so we appreciate you, Miss Ferguson. Also, our good friend Deanne Thompson joining us. We appreciate you and Jason very much, and a good buddy of mine, Joshua Harris, back north of the Austin area at the Oak Ridge Disciple House. So we appreciate you as well, Josh. Also, my fiance Bridget was chiming in a little bit earlier. We'll move along here. Final break. Brian Carroll, president of the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you, man. What's going on, Brian?
Thank you. Appreciate you having us out here.
You always got some cool apparel, some awesome gear. What's been going on, man? What do you got for us tonight?
Well, first off, I rushed out here from the concession stand this evening. We was covering the JV game, and our JV was winning, like Coach said. So, way to go, JV! Glad you are putting in the hard work and stuff out there.
Yeah, let's go for the JV kids, man.
Yes.
And I know that the 7th grade teams, they're doing really good. The 8th grade team's doing good. I think the B team lost last night. The 8th grade B team lost, but it's been a good week for Huntsville football so far, so we're going to carry it on into tomorrow night.
You bet, man. And, you mentioned something earlier, and I wanted to point this out. Coach usually stays till the end of the show. He had to leave because he's going out there to catch the tail end of that JV game. And that's something that folks I don't think realize, and I'm not doing this to put Coach Southern on a pedestal, but we talked about this when I interview him sometimes on Friday mornings. And I said, Coach, how do you do it? Because it's not just Friday night. It's not just that game or the practice in the morning. Coach literally goes from before sun up until after sun down, and it's not just 5 days a week. Sometimes it's 6 days a week, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that these guys are doing to invest in our kids. And I think from Coach Southern and all of his staff, that's something that should be commended.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Because he didn't have to come to this show tonight, do what he does, and then leave a little bit early to go be with those JV kids. But that's how much these kids mean to him and the rest of the staff.
You know, to your point, Rob, what people don't understand of these coaches and the hours they put in, I mean, say 40 hours is a regular work week. These guys are putting in 80, 90 hours. I mean, it is phenomenal what they're doing and where they're going to scout and preparing their teams, their positions. It's crazy, man.
And then Brian, with you as the president of the Hornet Quarterback Club, the Booster Club, Coach is always at those meetings on Monday nights.
That is correct.
So it's just it's just an awesome atmosphere to know how many people are investing in our kids, and that's what's important. You know, it's not just about winning, it's about investing, and that's the things that are happening. So speaking of that, what are some things that you guys have been up to? What have you been cooking around? What have you been working on, man?
Okay, well, right now we're working on, we have our spirit gear that's going on for sale. Of course, we always operate the concession stands at the underclassmen games, sub-varsity games there at the high school field. So, and we meet on Monday nights at 6 o'clock, so the public is invited out to come to the meetings. You don't have to be a member. Of course, you know, if you'd like to join the Booster Club, you're always welcome to join and be a part of the Booster Club, be an official voting member of the club. But just right now and stuff, we have, of course, we have the run-through, the blow-up run-through, the Texas-sized Hornet.
And that didn't happen last year, right? Because of COVID. Is that correct? Y'all didn't do.
We did the run through last year.
But the kids didn't run through. The Hornet Buddies.
Okay, the Hornet Buddies did not.
We didn't have Hornet Buddies.
We did not have the Hornet Buddies. Of course, we also are the sponsor of the Hornet Buddies pre-game run through. So
you know what? That Hornet Buddies, I love that. You know, every ball game, watching those little kids. Those little elementary kids up running through there, running as fast and as hard as they can.
And it's great. I like how Tony gets there at the end and stuff and starts announcing that they're running down the field. So it makes it a lot more fun. And the kids, everybody starts cheering them on. So it's a lot of fun.
It's awesome.
We'll be at Montgomery Bear Stadium. They're coming up for this contest tomorrow night. And just wonderful folks. I wanted to say in 10-5A, we got a lot of competition, a lot of teams, but everyone has always been so hospitable. At that facility, we don't have a place in a press box. It's a very small stadium for us, and so we're going to be right in the middle of our fans like we were last year whenever we played Montgomery there. We had the tent out. I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to rain like last year, but we're going to be right in the middle of our fans. And thank you to the quarterback club last year for helping us set that up. We've got a tent this year. Stephanie, I still have your tent, and I'm going to borrow it, so thank you.
You know what? That's so much fun. You talk about being in the middle of the crowd and the fans. They're right there with you. You know, we're interacting with them. We're calling the ball game. Everybody's having so much fun. And, but once you can be in there, I mean, that's a whole different perspective. So,
just quick score update, Brian, before you go over the gear. 7-1, ninth inning. Astros in the lead. So, all right, man. We're keeping you updated tonight. Brian, Spirit Gear, what do you got for us? Remember, we got a radio audience, so you have to describe it for us.
Okay, so I brought out some of our newer stuff that we do have, but if we have our coaches' hats, like all the coaches wear, these are Nike Aerobeel dry fit caps. These are Nike caps. We sell these almost at cost. You can't go to Academy and buy a Nike cap for this price. This hat is $20, and it's embroidered it's the black hat with the green embroidered H with the white outline around it. It's a really cool cap.
I have that hat, and I love that hat.
I do too.
I may have to get this one.
I have several of them. The ones that my sons hasn't drug off to. So, I also brought out our new polos. These are the dry fit polos. We have the men's polo in the green color.
That's awesome.
And then we also have a men's polo in the black. The polos, all right, y'all, we are not gouging prices on this here. We are in this to sell. We want everybody to have some nice Hornet gear. This is the men's polo right here. Our polo shirts are $20.
Oh,
you can't buy a polo for this cheap. This has the current Huntsville logo, football embroidered logo on it. So
the cool thing about these, Brian, it's the Huntsville. It says Huntsville football, and it's got the football logo. If you wear these polos, and if you wear slacks, maybe like brown khakis and dress shoes, and you go to the Buc-ee's in Madisonville after a Hornet victory, people will come up and say, "Great game, Coach."
That is
I had that happen last year.
Right, that is correct. I get coached all the time coming from work and just throwing on a Huntsville polo.
So if you ever wanted to, feel like a coach, buy one of these, wear some brown khakis, put on some dress shoes, and go walk out after a Hornet victory. And man, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We got great coaches. But anyways.
For the ladies, y'all been asking for the
cool.
polos. We have the 5-button ladies polo shirts also available. These are ladies cut for the ladies out there. And those are $20 also. And we have, back by popular demand, now these are the dry fit Huntsville football shirts. These are game apparel, just like the coaches you're going to see the coaches down on the field. They're going to have on the shirts just like this right here. So this is what everybody is asking for. So
how do those fit on guys like me who enjoy a good hamburger too frequently?
These are true to size.
Okay.
So
perfect.
if you're a extra large, it's going to fit just like an extra large.
Perfect.
And we also have them in the cotton one, but this is the dry fit one here also.
Awesome. Well, Brian, we appreciate y'all. For more information, go to Facebook, search for Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club. You can find out more information, Huntsville Hornet Football Quarterback Club, and you'll be able to connect. And please join them and support our kids. You don't have to have a student or an athlete out there on the field. You can just be a community supporter. Come out and support the Hornets. Brian, thank you for all you do, man, and all your staff and everybody. I say staff, but people that serve on the board. Tracy and Andre Longer here tonight. We appreciate you guys as well.
Yes, so much.
Thank
you guys are
tonight
such a big
for being
support.
here. And it's been a fun one, Brian. So
appreciate it. Thank you as always.
Well, friends, as we end every show, I want to remind you tonight that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you. And remember, no matter what you're going through in life, all is well. Want to also, again, thank you to True Texas BBQ. Appreciate them for having us. And we will be back at it. So we'll come out to Montgomery Bear Stadium tomorrow night. I believe it's a 7 p.m. kickoff. We'll be on the air. Is that right, Brian, or 7:30? It is 7. So we'll be on the air at 6:30 p.m. with pregame coverage. You can catch it all at ksam1017.com and also over the air at 101.7 FM KSAM. Friends, as I end every one of them, I've already said the tagline, but now we got to say it like you mean it. Sting 'em Hornets on the count of 3.
Say it loud.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Sting 'em Hornets.
Good night and God bless from Huntsville, Texas.